Was the exoskeleton as massively uncomfortable as it looks?
No, actually, when I first saw the pictures of it, Neil had done this graphic novel on his computer, and he'd invented this whole exoskeleton thing. And I looked at it and went, like, this is going to be a nightmare. I didn't say anything, but I've done like 50 movies at this point, and I took one look at that thing and thought it would be really rough. But they made it really comfortable, and I think as comfortable as they could. I mean, the only thing was I was in the chair for like 2.5 hours every morning getting ready because there was just so much stuff to put on, and so much kind of detail work around, like, the thing in my head and all the scars and blood and all that stuff that they had to do. So that was it. It just required a little patience. But like the suit itself was kind of awesome.
Speaking of the thing in your head, I mean, how do they keep that on? Glue?
Yeah. Yeah, so they would shave my head right there all the way down, like with a straight razor, and then just glue the thing on, and then they would have to do the detail work around it to make it look as if it had been surgically implanted, and so that took a while. That was really, but it was cool. Like, it was, the prosthetics and the makeup. It was really, just really, really high quality work.
What's the difference between fighting with an exoskeleton on, like a physical apparatus, versus fighting in the Bourne movies?
Well, actually, that's a good question, because we realized really quickly that it was potentially dangerous, because you had this thing that that jutted out from you, and it was sharp, and so we kind of, Charlton and I, when we were fighting, if you're going to throw a left hook at somebody, suddenly you have to pull the punch even further away, because you run the risk of like slicing the person's face open. Right. So we all were very careful. In some of the over-the-shoulder shots, we'd swap out the person getting hit with a stuntman, just because they always move better than we. Like, a stuntman and an actor is always better than two actors. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, two stuntmen fighting is the best. That's going to look the best. But if you have to put an actor in, it's always better to do it with a stuntman.
Better for insurance purposes.
Better for insurance purposes too. Yeah.
One thing I noticed about your character, the way he interacts with the droids and the robots, he treats them like they have a personality. He jokes with them. He tries to reason with them. I mean, why was this a conscious choice for Max?
Well, we wanted those interactions to feel matter of fact, to feel like real world interactions, to kind of just sell the idea that the world that we were creating in the movie is totally real. It's something that Neil does really well. He did it really well in District 9 with the way Charlton interacts with the aliens. And the more kind of personality he's giving them by engaging with them, the more you believe the aliens are there and they're real and they're talking back to him. So, obviously those droids were guys in blue suits, while we were making it. So it's kind of all about just trying to sell the illusion of this world.
Well, I know in District 9 some of those scenes were a bit impromptu, and he would just kind of go off on how it felt with the guys in the green suits. Is that something that you ran through a lot of? Are there a lot of like takes at the probation office that we didn't get to see?
Yeah, I mean, Neil's always interested in improvising and aesthetic. Like, he shoots in a way that allows for that. And then in the edit he can kind of dial up or dial down the humor. And then you have to get someone like Charlton, who's just incapable of doing the same thing twice in a row, which was what makes him so fun to watch as an actor. And he's constantly throwing stuff out there and constantly giving Neil options. It's one of the, I thought his performance in District 9 actually was one of the best performances by a male lead in quite some time. It was really dynamic and unique and original.
I guess last question, what was the most shocking thing he threw at you?
There weren't really any shocks. I mean, he was very planned and very prepared. Neil isn't somebody who wants a lot of stress or nerves on his set. He's a very laid-back guy, and if you walked onto the set, you wouldn't know that young guy with the baseball hat was directing the movie, but he makes it look pretty effortless and really he kind of arms every department with a lot of information, so they know, you always know what you're getting into, so there wasn't really any shock.